I am a firm believer in growth. I don't like to be stagnant. And the only place you can grow is in a place of uncomfortability. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes back in Jake from August Burns Red. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, man. Honestly, I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it, man. Lots going on. You're always very busy between the foundation, now a festival, new album coming, lots of stuff going on. We're here into February, into 2023. The world gets harder and harder. And I always like to, kind of focus on, there's so few people doing meaningful stuff. It's very easy to get out there and grind, and you guys have had a 20-year plus career as a band and so many highlights and so many things, but you have been a person very focused on giving back and doing for others. So that it seems like a very specific calling for you personally.
Yeah, I think it came from a place at first when I was younger of like wanting to be appreciated or wanted to be a part of, a community or a part of a body of people. And then I kind of think that desire was, or that thirst was satiated when I joined August Burns Red in 2006, where I was a part of a band and a movement or something that was growing, and I could be a part of it and play my role and have my gifts, right, be used for something. So it gave me a lot of purpose. And I think that ultimately, I feel that we as people want to be a part of community. We want to be a part of something that's growing. We want to be part of something that's greater than ourselves. And what's important to me, I think, is people, and our lives being lived out to the fullest of our abilities. And I just feel like there's a lot of things that combat that. And I think that that's some of that is like your mental health and like where are you mentally and what things have you experienced or gone through that may have changed the course of your life of where you were going or where you were thinking you were going to go and stuff like that. And so over the years, I've just really focused on, August Burns Red fans, listening to their stories, and they really inspired me to create an online community in a sorts for people to talk about what they're going through and what they're dealing with. And that's my nonprofit Heart Support that I started in 2011. Um, and so I think that that's really important for me. I think that my purpose, it's funny, I opened a gym during the pandemic, which I had a advisor call me every day and tell me how much of an awful idea that was, right? He's like, I love that you want to help people with their physical health and their mental health, but right now, this is the worst time. As a businessman, this is the worst time to open a gym. And I think during that process, I really realized that for me, I feel that my purpose is to enrich the soil of community, is to help build people up and then watch them grow and flourish. And like that's rewarding to me, right? And so I've been able to do that with August Burns Red, and I've been able to do that with Heart Support, and I've been able to do that with my gym. And so it's just for me, what has kind of became my life is the work that I get to do alongside other people, and we get to share life together, we get to grow together, and we get to experience another level of desire and dreams than maybe if we weren't doing that together, we wouldn't be able to do that. And so, yeah, it's a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's exciting. And it's been great.
Right on. And of course, you're talking about Your Life Gym and Your Life Gyms, plural. And I know it's a labor of love, but it's also a business. But especially Heart Support in terms of mental health, there's still all you got to do is turn on the TV or look at social media or just look around every day. There's such a stigma against people asking for help for mental health problems, and I don't understand why it's so deprioritized on top of everything else. And like obviously the big things of the world we're never going to fix in a day, right? But like I really feel like our society is really getting it wrong. I have struggled with my own personal issues with mental health and anxiety. I've been very open about that to our audience for, as a two-way street. Like, one, A, I'm not always okay, and B, if anyone's not okay, please come get at us. And it's just wild to me that there's still a stigma. And especially, being, rock or hardcore or metal people, there's always that, like, oh, he's just being crazy. But like, no, man, there's a lot of people unhinged and suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the things that society may think about mental health is like, that's for, weak people, or like, I don't need that. I'm mentally tough. And being mentally tough is one thing and one aspect of your mental health. Like, we're not degrading anyone's toughness for their mental state. Like, there's a matter of fact, a lot of people who struggle with mental illnesses, or even just mental health issues or struggles, they're very tough. They're extremely tough people, you know. Addicts are very tough people, and they're very loyal to what they're addicted to, right? And they're willing to do a lot for that addiction. They're already mentally tough. It's about being mentally healthy, right? And I think, when we think about our outside life and the way we perceive things and the way we choose to act to the outside world, it's all based on internal, how we think about ourselves, how we think about our lives, and how we see other people. And it's like, for me anyways, and I can only speak for myself, but like, my mental health, if I can do one thing today and build one little brick of something positive for my mental state and put it on top of the other bricks that I have built in the past week, right? I'm going to build a wall eventually, of something positive and good, reinforcing in myself who I am. And that's going to help me not only understand more of my purpose, or more of who I truly am, or who I want to be, but also how I can respond to other things in the outside world. And yeah, I think that another thing that maybe society is doing that isn't very helpful for us is that you go on Instagram and you see all these people living their best life, and they're all saying, go after it and hustle and you can get there. And they're all rich and they're all famous and they're all whatever. Okay. Now, for example, I've been a touring musician for 20 years of my life. I have worked extremely hard to be there. And a lot of people have never seen the work that I've put in because they weren't there. They only see the benefits of me on Instagram and, releasing an album and touring the United States and being nominated for a Grammy. And so they have this same thoughts, or maybe are being conditioned to say, well, I should be there, right? And yes, you should be. In reality, if that's where you want to be, you can work towards that and you can get there. And I believe in you. But society is kind of saying, like, right now, because the flip side of this is Amazon. So we want what we want and we want it right now. And I think that that's kind of another issue, because we see that we're supposed to be successful. Society is saying we have to be successful. And the level of success is famous, millionaire, house, cars, all this stuff that has taken some people years to get. And we're being conditioned to feel as though we should have it in 2 days. And so what happens when you have this high, extremely high expectation, and you're not meeting it in the time frame that you think you're supposed to meet it? Well, you get depressed, you get sad, you feel beat down, you feel discouraged, and all these other things. And so I kind of feel like that's kind of where we're at right now with certain aspects of society and how we view it and things. And I think that if we do want these things, and we are really truly wanting that for our lives, and that's a desire of our heart, and we want to fulfill that desire, that we've got to start internally first. We've got to start with our mental state. If you wake up and you're sad every day, or you're depressed every day, or you're stressed and anxious every day, don't you think that that is going to kind of dictate what you do in your day? How you get up? Are you going to go to work? Are you just going to lay in bed? Are you going to want to be a team player? Right? Like, our feelings, our mental state, very much so is correlated, connected to how we act out in our lives. And if it continues to grow and build, that every day, that's going to do something to you. That's going to have an impact. And that's what I want. See, I believe that everybody is just like me. I honestly, I believe that we're messy, we're goofy, we're fun, we're, we can be jerks. But we all have a heart. We all want to be loved and we all want to give love. And so if we can work on our mental state and love ourselves by investing time into understanding who we are, what are our triggers, what are our struggles, what are our dreams, and what's our daily life, what do we spend our time on, and all of these things. I think that that's a great place to start, because when you start to understand your purpose, then you start to live differently. You start to think differently. You start to love differently. And, I went through an early divorce in 2015. Had I not got healing for that, I probably wouldn't be in a relationship today. Had I not gone through that process and taken the good from it, I would still probably respond to my significant other now in verbally abusive or something, right? And be in a toxic relationship. Maybe I would have been like, yeah, I deserve to be beat up verbally, right? Like, we have to take these moments in our lives, these traumatic experiences or whatever we're dealing with, and we have to find healing, and we have to find opportunities of recognizing that there's an opportunity for growth here, for us to be a better version of ourselves, and we can take that pain and that suffering as a gift, and unveil the good that we can grow from. There's something that we can grow from. And maybe we've made a mistake and we need to heal from the mistake that we've made, right? And grow from it and move forward. But it's all in our mental state. And I'll tell you right now, if I was the same person I was in 2015 through my divorce, I may not actually be here. It was one of the most devastating things I had ever experienced in my life. I was so depressed. Everything had fallen apart inside of me and around me. That's how it felt. But I chose to go on a journey of healing and submit these things and be honest with myself. And now I've learned so much more about who I am. It's made me stronger and a more loving, caring individual, you know? Um, and I can do more. And now I can share, a story with someone about how I made it through. And maybe there's a listener today that's going through the exact same thing. And maybe that's all they needed to hear was, hey, you can make this well, and you can find the good from this, and you will come out stronger. And I know that sounds super cliche. And when I heard something like that, when I was going through my divorce, I was like, dude, shut your mouth. But it's the truth, you know?
Right on. Thank you for sharing all that. And again, I think that's like one of the first steps is because social media and this fake life has, and I work in marketing and media and social media when I'm not doing Ghost Cult, but because social media has us kind of chasing this dragon of this unlivable, not real life, I think we're less, equipped to turn that lens back on ourselves and look within and admit mistakes and take the first step. A lot of people are messed up, and it's really hard. I can speak from experience. It's really hard to take that first step and say, I'm not okay and I need help. And there's all these, again, there's these weird, I don't know if it's America or just whatever it is. There's a weird stigma culturally across a couple of generations back where we just can't ask for help. We just can't. The grind culture and the hustle culture and all these things. If I'm not, air quotes, like you said, living my best life, what am I doing? I'm a failure, which is not true. We all,
Right.
success has many layers and levels of what that means to you personally. And again, I just like to see, I think a lot of our problems would be fixed. Not that we can fix them all again, but some of these things are epic and huge and bigger than both of us. But I just feel like we'd be living better as a society, treat each other better, feel better about ourselves if we could take that first step and say, like, I need help. I'm not okay. And I'm glad that Heart Support is out there, and whatever it is that helps you. you use the band as your, one of your soapboxes to help put that message out there. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of people really appreciate it. And now we have a festival. And I was looking at the festival,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, there's like not just great music, which is killer, and it's going to be a fun experience, but you have bands that also share a similar kind of mindset and purpose. Rise Against, Parkway Drive, The Ghost Inside, Under Oath. I've talked to all these people, and in most cases, a lot of these bands are bands that we've all kind of crossed in the same sphere. And they all have kind of a hand in giving back, a hand in charity or charitable organizations that matter to them. So I think it's really cool that you put together not just a bill of crushing music, but bands that are focused on also helping people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the idea of Heartsupport Fest is really, our little slogan or whatever is, to unite bands and fans to elevate the importance of mental health. And, my goal for the festival is to be able to cultivate an environment with where the aroma is acceptance. And I mean, being like, hey, you don't have to wear a mask at this fest. You don't have to be a certain way. You literally just be yourself and just soak it all in, right? And be able to be in the present moment and experience the good music, the good vibes, the good energy, the good people, the moment, right? And have fun, but also be able to be vulnerable if you want. And some of these musicians, I'm not I believe that they're going to share some of their be vulnerable, share some of their things, their experiences, their, maybe words of encouragement or a story about mental health that they've experienced. The Ghost Inside, they went through that horrific bus crash. Um, Under Oath has gone through their ups and downs. Parkway Drive had just released in their documentary about them and their bassist and the dynamics within their band. So it's very much real. Okay. Mental health's very much in everyone's lives. And we just want to support people to recognize that that's a huge factor and variable within the equation of how their life is going to play out and that they have a choice. We will have a heart support tent there, and that will have resources and some books and some, people to engage. And but overall, that's going to be kind of like a undertone of the festival. It's going to be there. It's not meant to be overbearing. I'm not trying to, preach the mental health gospel or something. It's just, hey, we want to have a good time. We want to have that energy and a place where you can be yourself and enjoy a nice festival and be encouraged by the band that you connect with so deeply through their music and lyrical content to hear their story and see how human they are, to remind you that you're human as well, and that's okay. It's good to be human. We should be human. We need to stop thinking about trying to be everybody else or be up where somebody else is. And can we just be a human? Can I just be me today? And that's what I want. That's what Heartsupport Fest is all about.
Nice. And it kind of reminds me of that vibe of the old school, the Warp Tour days, where you not only have all the bands, but also all the tents and all the nonprofits lined up. And again, not necessarily trying to convert people, but trying to help people. And that's the main thing here. And I think maybe there's especially to the younger generation, it might be weird to them that didn't grow up with these kind of things, where it's like, oh, what are they trying to recruit me? No, there's help out there. And I think that's, again, being vulnerable is not a bad thing, and saying I'm not okay is not a bad thing. But also, you got to take the first step on a journey. The first step's the hardest one, like anything. Whether it's, again, your personal issues, sobriety, whatever it is, you got to take that first step. It's hard. That's the hardest thing.
Absolutely. It is. And the other thing too, though, because generally speaking, when people think about mental health, they think about mental illness, right? That's the first thing that kind of pops up. And then they think of addiction or, those types of things, depression, which is totally an aspect of mental health, right? But for people who aren't struggling with those types of things, we also have things like doubt and fear. right? And so, these are things that people don't really think is part of mental health. Like they're like, oh, well, to open a gym during a pandemic, do you think I wasn't shitting myself? Do you think that I wasn't scared? Do you think that I wasn't fearful or doubtful? Right? Um, yeah, I wasn't, maybe dealing with depression at the time or whatever, but these are real, those things, those feelings were real to me. And they were trying to keep me from believing in myself and moving forward. And if you want to be successful, right, and you want to be, all these things that everybody says, yeah, man, you got to hustle. Well, in order to hustle, you gotta sleep well, you gotta wake up early and believe in yourself, you gotta have confidence. And when those fears come in, like, hey, you don't have this and you need this, and that's what you're telling yourself, right? You got to have faith that you're still going to pick your chin up and walk forward, right? Well, that's a part of your mental health. And so many people, in my opinion, not so many people, but some people, I'll say that, deal with those fears. Well, I would never be able to do that, or that's not for me, or I thought that was cool, but I can't, right? And they immediately turn off some desire in their heart. And what I think is like, man, no, you can do it. I think you can do it. And I think you should try, at the very least, try to do it, right? Learn something about yourself. I am a firm believer in growth. I don't like to be stagnant. I like to grow. And the only place you can grow is in a place of uncomfortability. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. There are times where when I struggle with stress or anxiety or sadness or depression or something, I just have to sit there and bite down on a stick. You know what I mean? Like visually, I just have to sit there and just take it and feel the feelings and understand where's my fears and what are these things and why is it happening? And no, am I going to let this dictate how I'm going to live my life? I don't think so. And is this something I need to be concerned about? Right. And so anyone who wants to navigate and get to a place where they feel like they're accomplishing their dreams or living their life, they have to go through a place of uncomfortability. And that's where the growth is. And so when you say, hey, man, I need help, congratulations. You just told me that you want to grow. Congratulations. You just told me that you want to be successful. Congratulations. You're not just going to do the average, right? You want to be stronger. You want to live a bigger, stronger, more beautiful, more joy filled life. You know what I mean? So really the strong people are the ones that are willing to take that and engage it, right? And the other people who don't understand this, I'm trying to give you another perspective on your mental health where it's needed and it's important and it's a part of you, right? So I think that that's really what I'm trying to encapsulate because no matter who you are, even if you're trying to build a gym during a pandemic, your mental health is important. If you're struggling with addiction, your mental health is important, right? And all I want is for you to be the best version of yourself and to love yourself because I believe that we were created for two things. One is to receive love and one is to give it. And we can't do either of those alone. And if you don't love yourself, it's really hard to love others. And sometimes if you don't love yourself, it's really hard to receive love from others. And I think that that's what this life is about. You want to be successful, you want followers. Why do you want followers? Because you want to be loved, right? Why do you prove yourself? Because you want to be loved. You want to be appreciated. Why was it when I was a kid I wanted to be a part of a community? Because I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to be appreciated and loved, right? And what am I doing? I've built community in the gym, in the band, with Heartsupport because I want to give love, because I think that that's what we're created to do, right? And that's what I want for everyone. But it all starts in your head, you know?
Nice. Thanks again. I not to give you one more thing or one more brick on your pile, but it sounds like I feel like I want you to write a book eventually about all this because I feel like there's a lot you could share and give value even beyond the org and through the org. But I feel like maybe a book is in the works someday or something.
Well, thank you. Yeah, let me get done with a couple of these other things here.
Right,
Um,
new album on the way, by the way. Yeah, of
yeah.
course. And actually, this is really interesting. Just a little more about Heart Support at the day of and the weekend of. I got asked a really interesting question by a friend of mine. It's like, yo, Josta just announced that he's bringing back Milwaukee Metal Fest, and he announced the first bunch of bands. And it's like, how come Hatebreed is not playing or Josta's not playing the fest? Because, dude, he's going to be busy running the fest and answering and organizing and managing. So I was going to ask you, in terms of all these entrepreneurial activities and just in general, how to like succeed, do you
Mhm.
build a team around yourself to help manage all those things? Do you find it's hard to you compartmentalize or delegate, which is the problem that I have personally running a small business, is delegating. It's really hard for me. Is it hard for you? And how do you manage those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I am a firm believer, and I say this all the time. Like I had, I don't know, 3 or 4 interviews yesterday, and I think it came up every single time. And what I believe is if you want to be successful, you have to build a body of people. You have to have a team. Again, the band, I'm just the vocalist. I'm not the drummer, the bassist, the guitarist, right? I'm not the songwriter. I'm not the bus driver. I'm not the guitar tech. I'm not the light engineer, the sound engineer, the merch guy, right? You have to have a team. So, yes, to answer your question, I believe teams are extremely important. Not only is it important because things can run smooth and you don't have a heart attack because you're trying to do everything and wear all these hats, but it also elevates those people in their calling or their gifts or what they're good at. Um, and you get to share the story, you know? I don't think that like I don't think we're meant to just create stuff on our own and be like, look at this thing because the growth is going to be limited. So I believe in delegating and I understand how delegating can be scary. Um, Specifically if you're very detail oriented or if it's your baby and you're very scared of, you know, this person's just going to screw it up. So what I spend a lot of my time with when I'm like with my gym, for example, I have a team of people and I am constantly pouring into them and I'm constantly teaching them and I'm constantly explaining everything to them so that they understand how I operate, they understand how I speak, and they understand to the degree that I want something done. So there's SOPs for everything. So if I were to say, "Hey man, go clean the toilet, go clean the bathrooms at the gym," right? You would go and you would clean the bathrooms and you come back. I say, "Are the bathrooms clean?" You'd say, "Yeah, they are." I walk in there and there's paper towels on the floor and there's no toilet paper on one of the rolls, right? On one of the little thingies, right? I would say this isn't clean, right? See, your expectation of what you think a clean bathroom is not mine. And if you want to delegate, you've got to be able to show and teach and create and say, hey, this is how I want the bathrooms to be done. So that when you say, hey, Josh, can you go clean the bathrooms? He says yes, you know exactly what's going to be done, right? Like, and that's to help someone who struggles a lot with delegating, right? So I spend a lot of time building my team up so that not only do they become the person that they are looking to be, where they're saying, hey, I want to learn about, personal training, I want to get nutrition certified, all of these things, right? Which I help support them in, but that team aspect is crucial. And it's going to be crucial when we do the Heartsupport Fest that the team is going to be running stuff because I'm going to be on stage for 45 minutes at least and doing a little signing and all these other things that I have full confidence in my team and I know that they understand what I'm looking for. I know what they're looking for and we created this thing, not me. There's not one thing in my life that I did alone, period. And it's good for me to recognize that because it keeps me humble and I want to be humble. I think that's really, really important.
Fair enough. as we wind this down, I want to give you back the rest of your very busy day. Obviously, the album's on the horizon. Got the first single and video. I love Backfire. Jesse, I love,
Thank you.
absolutely adore Jesse. And what a
Yeah.
great man. What a great fit he is. And you have a bunch of guests on this record, right? That's pretty exciting. Also, not just peers, but like, really, again, bands that line up with ABR also.
Yeah. Yeah. Record's coming out in March. Heartsupport Fest is February 18th, 19th at Orlando Fairgrounds in Orlando, Florida. Yeah, there's a lot cooking right now, and I'm just thankful, man. I mean, honestly, thank you for wanting to take time to learn more about Heart Support and the festival and just interviewing me as a human. And it's just really cool, man. I'm super thankful for all of our fans. I mean, our 20-year anniversary tour is literally right around the corner. And our fans are the reason why we're here 20 years later, and so they've given me the honor and the gift of being able to continue to be an artist. And that's I'm just blessed, man. I'm thankful.
Right on. Jake, thanks for everything you do and the band as well. Send my best to the guys. Be safe out there on the road, and I'm sure we'll catch you out there. And perhaps next time we'll do one of these eventually in person instead of over these
Sweet.
devices.
I love it, man. That sounds great. Thanks for having me.